Hi, I'm Mark Scher. I'm the CEO and founder of Encompass Life and the host of the Encompassing Life Podcast. Where the Encompassing Life Podcast, we're focusing on individuals who are doing something different in the healthcare industry and who are really in service to life. And today I have Annelise Coule on the call. And Annelise is in West Palm Beach, Florida, and her company is called Golden Therapeutics, and she's a little bit older than she looks. When I first met her, I thought I have misguessed her age by about 8 or 10 years. She's has a very young look, but an old soul in a young body. So Annalise, welcome to the show.
Hi, Mark. Thank you for having me.
You're
Me and my
welcome.
old soul body.
In your old soul and your young body with an old soul, mature beyond your years for sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm very honored to be in part of the podcast.
Thank you. And this is your first one, so we'll be really nice with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you came to the States at the age of 14 from Colombia,
Yes. Yeah. It's,
and you started out doing different things, before you got into the healing arts. Tell us a little bit about your path and what got you here.
well, when I moved to the States, I went to, a regular high school after like a year or so of middle school. And then I was doing a lot of art in that school, and my art teacher got me connected to Dreyfus, an art school in Florida. And I had a wonderful experience there and tried to pursue it through as a career. Then, when I went to college in New York and then shortly after San Francisco, I realized I don't know that I really want to make a career out of this, but I have a lot of fun doing it. And then my mom suggested, why don't you give massage therapy a try? She had been hospitalized when sometime I was little. She had just a short stint. She, had some digestive thing going on, and I massaged her hands at the hospital, and she just never forgot that. And so she suggested I try massage therapy school. And my mom's intuition was right on. It was a very good way for me to get started in my life of service and healing. And I did that for 10 years. 5 of those years I was enrolled in, well, the last 5 years I was enrolled in acupuncture school. And in 2020, I began being an acupuncturist. And the year before that, I found pranic healing. So in 2019, I found pranic healing and arhatic yoga. And those few years just really catapulted me into the place where I am. And I love what I do, and it is not separated from who I am. And I live a life of service through my work, and I feel like that's my contribution to the world, inching towards a better world, one person at a time. So if I help one person feel better physically, mentally, emotionally, they're going home to their families, to their partner, to their friends, their roommates, and they're having a better impact onto the world by being more who they are instead of a person covered in pain, or, whether it's physical or emotional or spiritual pain. And they are bringing their gifts more to the world than if they were covered by stress or pain.
You know, all physical pain starts off as emotional pain. Yeah. So you've been doing this now for your current practice where you're doing pranic healing, acupuncture. Are you still doing massage as well?
I incorporate massage therapy, myofascial, in 15-minute spots. So, like, sometimes people will need like 15 minutes, maybe 30. So it's like two spots of 15 minutes, sometimes three spots, but it's always incorporated with acupuncture. So if someone doesn't want acupuncture or traditional Chinese medicine, I don't provide massage therapy by itself anymore. It's always
Gotcha.
under the scope of TCM.
You're doing the acupuncture in with like 15 minutes of myofascial relief as well going
If
on.
if requested, or if it's necessary, yeah, say that there's some dysfunction in the neck, the people really respond so well to that. Or if there's lower back pain, maybe the legs and the musculature of the legs is involved. And it really, really helps do a
Yeah, yeah,
quantum piece of
yeah.
a release that way.
Yeah, I got into an accident a number of years ago. Couldn't walk and going myofascial. Doing the myofascial stuff. I've done acupuncture. I've done pranic healing. Everything,
You're
and
very lucky.
yep, it definitely helped a lot.
I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm assuming that you are. But from
Hmm.
speaking to you before, it seems like you are feeling really good.
Yep, I came through some tough stuff to get to where I am as well. Aside the pain, I'm a big proponent of the expression "holy shit," and I believe that most people try to get away from their. Another way of saying it, I guess you could say spiritual poo poo, right? So, everybody tries to get away from their crap, but if you go into it, you find a big gold nugget inside of it. The bigger the mess, the bigger the nugget.
Yeah.
So it takes a little bit of courage to go into it, and a lot of this stuff is passed down from generation to generation to generation until it gets so big that somebody comes through and they have to and they have there's so much pain they have to wake up and go into it and deal with it. So tell me a little bit about your practice and how you work with people.
So most people find me through the fact that I'm an acupuncturist. Most people seek acupuncture when they have some sort of pain. They have lower back pain, they have migraines, they have menstrual cramps, something that brings them in. And we always work on what people are feeling, work on that right away. But there's usually a reason that's happening. So we get to the root cause. We get to what is the part of the environment that really brought that out. But it's usually also to do with the kind of person that was involved in that environment and what that person inherently needs more than others. What is, it's almost like what the soul embodied in that body needs the most in order to really become themselves.
So you mentioned we. Is there more than one person working with you?
Oh, no.
Okay,
I say we because it's not me doing the work. It's the patient and I doing it.
gotcha,
I think I use that terminology because I want whomever's with me to feel like we're in this together. You're supported. I'm not going to say, hey, go do this, but
gotcha.
I'm riding the journey. And actually, I run my practice probably very differently from other acupuncturists. It's like small and personal. I am not worried about like acquiring a ton of volume of people. It's like one person at a time, and I have very deep connection with them. And I try to get to the root of the problem. And sometimes I might have more resources or capacity to find solutions that are workable to their life. So sometimes it's all about like an Amazon link to a product that if they just had, it would be the solution to something like, say, a very busy businesswoman who just is caffeinating herself with, net Nespresso pods. Like, okay, here, there's an Amazon link to a little reusable pod that's not creating more waste, and you can put organic coffee in there. Also, have some protein before you have that coffee, and then your cortisol isn't going to be running high the whole day. And she noticed a huge change. Organic coffee is a must if you're going to do coffee.
Right, right. So you only work with one patient at a time, and I've gone to acupuncture before where they'll put needles in three or four people, and let somebody cook for 30 or 45 minutes while they're putting needles in somebody else, and come back and kind of do like a assembly line type of work. And you
Yeah,
did,
exactly. So this is where it's very different. I work with one person at a time. I always have at least an hour set for a person. They come in, I get to know them. We have at least a 20-minute conversation sitting down and we really chat. We gather whatever resources they need. Sometimes it's books, sometimes it's links, sometimes it's just things that they ought to know about.
hmm,
Sometimes it's a short video explaining something better than I can, so they have like a visual representation or something to go back to. Sometimes it's an explanation about why a supplement is actually very helpful for them. And then we move on to the table and I do aromatherapy. There's sound healing music happening. If they need like a small dose of herbs while they're here, I have my herbal cabinet here. Sometimes they need a certain supplement to just get them over the hump of the next few days before it arrives. I might have it on hand. It's very personal. The
hmm,
way that I envision my practice is almost very like in a primal days, like a village healer who's, she doesn't have a title. You just come to her house, you sit, you have tea, and I might have a remedy, a solution, or a way to speak to your heart that just maybe makes the difference and the change. And then I set the needles, and the higher soul just does the changes that it needs to do. And then I come back in and makes a
And
difference.
and you work out of your home, you said, but you have a special entrance and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
There's
tell
a separate entrance into the office. There's a separate restroom for the patients. It's just this house really worked out that way.
me.
And that way I get to really have work-life balance with my family. I have a 3-year-old and a 5-month-old that I'm very present for. I like to make them their meals, and I'm really living into the integrity of what I believe in.
Gotcha. So you have help with your kids while you're doing your work?
I'm very lucky too. My mom helps a lot. And aside from that, I just recently added a very, very special person who helps take care of my baby when my mom can't.
Awesome. Great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
And
you get
also
to,
my husband, of course.
right. But you said he's starting to work outside the office, outside the house too.
Yeah, yeah.
And what part of West Palm are you in?
I'm on Southern, so I'm like almost neighbors with the president, it seems.
Oh, really?
Right, like same road as Mar-a-Lago. You just straight shot.
Oh, wow.
So.
Beautiful area down there.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful area. West Palm Beach is a very special place.
Yep. So how far are you from Mar-a-Lago?
5 minutes, just because there's more traffic now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So you have people come to your house and work there. And you incorporate pranic healing while doing acupuncture, or is that a separate was that a separate standalone service?
So I mostly offer traditional Chinese medicine, and pranic healing is almost like, Qigong.
Right.
So it's all different variations. But I don't offer pranic healing to every person that comes in. If they ask about it, or if they're talking about the type of things that I work on with pranic healing. When someone sits on the chair and they're talking about like their life patterns that just keep coming up again and again, something that they're wishing to work towards, but something just keeps happening, getting in the way, or like I have this quality and I see it's not working for me, and life is telling me that I have this issue and I just wish that I could let it go. Or I've let this go, but it's just almost like the ghost of it is still in the background.
Yeah.
So that's a very good way to like for me to know, hey, this might be for you.
Hmm.
Or some people find me because they know I practice pranic healing. But
Yeah.
mostly I offer acupuncture, herbology, cupping, gua sha, cosmetic acupuncture, fertility acupuncture, yeah, all of that support. And then the pranic healing is something that I add on if they feel inclined to be open to that.
Gotcha. Awesome. Can you share a particular case? You know, no names or anything, but somebody who came in with a pretty serious issue and what type of changes you've seen on the tables.
Yeah, sure. I remember this was like a couple of years ago. I got a call from a woman, and she sounded very timid calling me. She's like, "Hi, I would like to set an appointment with you. I'm looking for acupuncture because I know that it helps with fertility, but I have a needle phobia." And I thought, I actually might be a really good person to work with her. And so we started working together. And at first, I just put like gold ear seeds on all the acupuncture points that I wanted to use. And she was very interested in pranic healing. So we worked on the phobia with pranic healing. And we worked on it enough that one day she requested that we start using one point. And she was very nervous, but she worked through it. I mean, and when she came, she shared that instead of getting a blood test for her health insurance, she decided she was willing to pay $10,000 more for her health insurance if it didn't require to have a blood test. She did not want to have a blood test at any cost. She would not go anywhere near needles. And the thought of blood tests, anything to do with anything medical that might require any needles was a deep phobia. And we worked through it enough that after 10 years of trying to get pregnant and now starting fertility work that we did through acupuncture and herbs, she did start IVF, which involves a lot of injections, a lot of needles, and a lot of blood tests. And now she's pregnant.
Awesome.
Yeah, I know.
How long did you work with her?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah,
Awesome.
she was very committed.
Yeah,
I
that's
wouldn't
cool.
say it's like when something, I wouldn't even say so much that it's what I did. She showed up for herself. She did the hard work. I mean, she
Yep,
faced her fears. She showed up. She made the appointments. She was brave. She she did it.
yep,
I'm just very grateful to have been like supporting her through the journey.
yep. And that's what it's always. I mean, you show somebody the door and say, "Hey, here's the door. Here's a path," but they have to walk it themselves. They got to do it for
Yeah.
themselves. Yeah, it's not like, hey, take a pill and this is over. And here's a way
Yeah.
to take control back of your life. You become your own. You begin to master your own body chemistry. You begin to master your own self, and then all these other things take care of themselves. Yep. Really cool. So you do everything individually, and and you have two kids now. What's your goal over the next 5 years?
When I had my first child, I was thinking that by the time she went to school, I would have an office in which I would have, you know, more than one person at a time and just grow and see more people and, have a bigger office and all of that. Right now, I think my sights are just set still in a very personal way. I just want to stay in integrity with my values and my pace. And I love being a mother as much as I love my work. So in 5 years, I think I'm going to just keep achieving work-life balance and see how it can grow, whether it's in my home or outside of the home. But these two things are my priority. Maybe my family just a little bit more. And I have to just see what my children's needs are and now I think I might homeschool. I think I might just really relish in seeing these young minds enjoy every drop of life. I
Hmm.
feel like that's very exciting to me.
Do you
So,
do you do public speaking?
no, 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 not at all. I'm actually very, very shy, but I'm good one-on-one. So,
Gotcha. If if you'd like to get over that really quickly, I can help you. I can help you with that.
okay.
All right.
Yeah. Well, if I were to do some public speaking, I think there's a part of me that wonders about, there's like homeschooling pods. There's like ways that you do homeschooling with like parents that have a like-mindedness. And with everything that's happening in the world, and when can we not say this? Every generation has been able to say this, but I feel like now more than ever, we need to bring up citizens of the world that have the well-being of the planet in mind and of the human race in mind. So there's a part of me that thinks that maybe I could be leading a pod of Wednesdays at 10, children learning about like their way to contribute spiritually to a better world, just learning about how to take
Yeah, yeah.
care of themselves and each other and find their own true light so that they can share their passions and their gifts. And
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people who have a beautiful message inside of themselves, they also have the fear that,
absolutely every person
oh no,
has a
yeah,
beautiful gift to
yeah,
share.
but like you have a beautiful message, beautiful heart, beautiful message inside yourself, but then you have a fear of public speaking.
I'm getting over it. Look, here I am. I said, yes,
I know.
podcast. I'm
I
getting
got to
there.
mess with you a little bit, you know. So, but then we've had people who've had a lot of corruption, a lot of anger and resentment inside of them, who have taken over, who are being and they try to control other people because they can't control their own anger and resentment inside themselves, so they try to control everybody else around them. So, that's how all this stuff has spread. So it's really time for people who have the heart that they've been holding back speaking. It's so time for these people for you like people like you to come forward and start speaking what's the message you have to deliver to the planet. Yeah, whenever a lot of times whenever I ask a question, I see a movie of what's happening with somebody's life. So whenever I asked what was next for you, what I saw was that you have a book out and you're public speaking. So I saw your face on the cover of a book and you're public speaking. Just let you know.
Maybe, I feel like nowadays, that's the goal of a lot of people. I guess maybe you can get me to thinking about that. I start to, I don't know
I'm
just
just saying
where I
what
am in
I'm just
life.
speaking.
I'm postpartum with like a 5-month old, but I'm thinking of my impact being personal, one-on-one. But maybe as my energy grows back, then I could extend that to
Um,
hundreds or
all I'm
thousands of
doing is
people.
sharing the movie I see. Whenever I ask a question, I frequently see a movie of what's available for that person. I'm just sharing what I saw.
Well,
So
thank you for sharing that.
you're welcome.
I'm very curious about that movie.
Yeah, awesome. So, Annalise, how do people get in touch with you and in your area to schedule an appointment with you? And I mean,
Most people find me through Google. They're like looking, acupuncture near me, and I come up and, my office. I'm in my office now. I don't know if I should like almost shift
yeah,
the view.
yeah. Is that your artwork behind you by any chance?
No, no, this is Hilda Aftklimt. This is a gift from a patient. It's like very like spiritual and esoteric work.
Okay. It had a
And
glare on it. Now I can see more.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then that is a different artist, Megan Boyd. Megan Boyd, she makes beautiful art also. So no, that's not my artwork, but work that I identify with.
Cool. So people get in touch with you by going on the internet and looking up Golden Therapeutics, and
And they
you're
see
in.
that my office looks a
Yeah,
little more homey and inviting and colorful.
yeah, and you're close to Mar-a-Lago, so that's that's a beautiful area of Florida, and you can tell Annalise is really quiet and has a very soothing voice.
Thanks.
So I think it'd be fun to work with is to bring forth the parasympathetic nervous system and ease in your patients. You got a
Yes.
very soothing tone about you.
Oh, thank you. I hear that all the time.
Maybe you could do some children's books.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and do the voice form as well. The the kids can listen to your voice and have a bedtime story. You could read them a bedtime story, and they could.
That's a beautiful thought. Thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome. So, do you have a phone number they can reach you at as well, or you prefer they
Yeah.
contact you?
Yeah,
Okay.
my phone number is nice and fun, full of repeating numbers. 772-233-1122.
Slow it down and speak it clearly now. Everything else you spoke clearly except for your number. So
Oh,
slow it down.
it's because I've been like teaching it to my daughter. So I like try to say it in a sing-song way. 772-233-1122. That's how I've been teaching
Awesome.
it to my daughter.
Thank thank you. And I always ask one question at the end of the podcast. And my other question I ask is, what do you love about life?
I don't know. The first thing that comes to me is colors. I just, life is beautiful. If you just sit and regard a sunset, a sunrise, a tree, just the simplicity of things. There's so much beauty in the intricacy of nature.
Sitting and watching a sunset or a sunrise and
I
noticing
know
all
it
the.
sounds so
Oh, no, no,
ill.
well, yeah, but it's beautiful. I mean, I notice them now too. I mean, really notice them as well, and all the colors that are available in the sunset or sunrise. It's amazing.
Yeah, and you live in Florida, so you know about those Florida sunsets and sunrises.
Yes,
We have
ma'am.
just beautiful, beautiful skies over here.
Yes, ma'am. Anything else you'd like to share?
Well, I just want to share my gratitude. Thank you so much for reaching out to me. This was very special for me. Thank you so
You're
much for inviting
welcome.
me on your
Very,
podcast.
very welcome and very special having you on the call as well. Thank you so much, and I hope to meet you in person sometimes.
Thank you. And you'll hear from me. I want to look in more into your books.
Awesome. Thank you. Blessings.
All right. Thank you so much.